Hello and welcome to Quilt Addicts Anonymous. I'm Stephanie Sebbing and we have some brand new Kaffe and Tim Holtz to show you today. I know this is going to go quick because you all love some Kaffe and you all love some Tim Holtz. Let's take a peek. So Free Spirit once again has updated their Kaffe Classic. So we have 3 different colorways you can get, or you can get a rainbow concoction. These always look great. We did a collaboration a couple of years ago with them where we used this rainbow one or one like it to do garden plot with, and oh my gosh, was it gorgeous. You have got to take a peek at that, and you can absolutely make that happen again by grabbing one of these. Also, I just want to note I did a mass reorganization of all of my finished quilts. You can see it on my TikTok, and these shelves have not been this full in a very, very long time. I'm very proud of all the work, so make sure you check that out. It was really fun to organize all of those goodies. All right, so let's start with the rainbow. This is the Kaffe Facet Collective Classics Plus, and this is the rainbow fat quarter. That's what we have here today. So we're going to start with that magenta. It's absolutely gorgeous, really big blooms. This one is the Dahlias by Phil Jacobs. It's absolutely gorgeous. We're getting into a little bit more orangey magenta at this point. Kaffe always does a good mixing of colors, so depending on where you end up cutting, if you're going very small, you might actually get green, but this one by and large is going to breed that orange pink. This one is super fun. It looks like big plops of paint everywhere. I think this is as close as Kaffe is going to get to a basic outside of the Aboriginal dots and the shot cottons, but this is absolutely gorgeous. Now we're going to move more into the orange yellow. This is the lotus leaf and I love it. It's so big. This would be one to use really big and pretty, maybe like with one of our grid work design patterns where you get to use it really big and show off all the gorgeousness of the fabric. Now we have the cactus flower. This one is definitely very much in that orange color family. We are back to that one that looks like little dots of paint everywhere, this time in a much lighter orange. I love this so much. Next we have a Phil Jacobs print. This one's called Shaggy. It is so pretty. It reminds me of peonies in the summertime. This Mad Plaid is always great for a binding. It looks so good. You don't even have to do it on the bias, but it looks like it. But it is really fun. We're definitely getting into that yellow, and now we're going to transition into green next. We've got Lotus Leaf again, this time transitioning into that lime green. But again, with Kaffe, it depends on where you cut it because some areas are super green, some areas are super pink. So if you're working with 2-inch squares and you end up right here with 2-inch squares, it's going to look pink or orange. So that is kind of the fun of Kaffe, is that it may read as one color when you're looking at it as a whole, but as you get it cut into smaller bits, it can look entirely different. I love these leaves and flowers. We're getting a little bit darker with the green, and we're going to continue that trend. I always love this print. This looks so good cut up, and it's going to retain that green texture and or hue no matter where it is because it is the overall greenness of it. But it's got a lot going on. There's so much happening in these repeats. It's really gorgeous, really fun, but you are going to retain that green look no matter how tiny your pieces get. Here is Shaggy again, this time in a nice green with some light notes of teal, blue, and even purple. So this is a really fun one. Again, great to use big, but also if you use it small, you might have blocks that look like they're purple instead of green. So keep that in mind as you're planning your projects. This is the last of our green fabrics for this bundle, and it is really, really pretty. It's that paint dots again, and it looks great. It works as a great blender. This one is absolutely show-stoppingly gorgeous. It is a whole bunch of feathers in here, and it is just these deep purples and blues and greens. It looks absolutely gorgeous. I love every bit of this one. This one has a bunch of different flower heads on it. It's blooms, and they are so fun, and it has the traditionally the dots in the background. That is one of the Kaffe sort of basics. They don't really do basics, but they have a few that look more like blenders and others, and the dots is one of them. And I think this is so pretty. Now we have Flower Dot. Again, we're moving into those blues and purples with just a hint of green as we finish out this fat quarter bundle. We have some very big blooms again. They are gorgeous, they are deep, they are saturated, and it looks absolutely stupendous. I mentioned when we were looking right here that the dots are one of the signature fabrics from the Kaffe Facet Collective. Here you can see it here. It looks really good with all the blue as we're transitioning. We have 2 more fabrics to show you from this bundle. I just love this color combination. It's so rich and beautiful, and I just really love all these royal tones together. They're really lovely. And we're wrapping it up with Jupiter. This is one of my favorite Kaffe prints, and a lot of times you'll see stuff that looks like similar, like they've had it in years past, and that's because a lot of times prints are recycled with brand new colors, but I really love how they kind of stay true to who Kaffe is and the Kaffe Facet Collective with the way everything looks, and it's stunning. I love it. All right, so we also have a brand new Kaffe project. These are nesting baskets, and we put this tutorial together for SIY, Sew It Yourself, which is a project from the Jaftex family of fabrics, which Free Spirit is one of them. And their process is to get everyone fun projects to do. So if you're a brand new sewer, you can learn to sew, or if you're an experienced sewer, it can be fun, quick projects. And this one was really fun to do, and they would look great in your sewing studio. They nest when you need to pack up and maybe not use all of them. But we use by Annie's So Stable foam interfacing for this. I guess it's not technically interfacing, but that's what we use. And it really helps it hold its shape really well. It looks great. And that way you can stuff it with all kinds of your sewing notions or whatever you need to store. And I think this would be a fabulous addition to your stash. We do have kits available for it, including the handles, which I accidentally left off of my samples when I made them, but they are really fun. And make sure you head on over and grab you a set of these. The pattern is free. All right, so we are going to go through the next couple of bundles a little bit faster because a lot of the prints are going to remain the same but have different colorings on them. This one is called Vineyard, and it definitely reads all magenta orange and like really deep magenta orange. So if you are looking for something like this, then you can definitely use like an orange or a yellow or even a hot pink for your background on this. And yes, hot pink can be a neutral, and then you can really have some fun with this. Actually, let me grab a quilt top that I never finished that uses a colorway like this so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So this is my pattern 18 karat, and it used kind of a blue-green colorway. So any of these would work great with it. And then you can see I used a really deep magenta of the Aboriginal dots as the background, and it looks absolutely fabulous with it. Everything stands out, everything looks great, because in Kaffe you definitely can do more is more and really be bold with everything. Don't feel like you have to do a white background. All right, so back to Vineyard, we're gonna take a peek at these. Oh, these big blooms, they were so fun. So this print here is also in the rainbow. We saw this one before, but this is a different colorway. More spots. This one is also in the rainbow fat quarter bundle. This one is mosaic circles. This one's really fun. This one is super fun. I think this might be a new design. I don't recall seeing this one before, but it's so pretty. This would make a great bias binding. Got jumble in magenta and orange background. Here is Lake Blossoms. They have a very almost maroon burgundy background. It's really pretty. More of the spots, this time with a pink background and orange dots. This zigzag is classic Kaffe right here. This would also be a really fun bias binding. This one is super gorgeous. This would be great to use on a large scale. Tree fungi is also a very classic Kaffe pattern that we haven't seen yet in these bundles. These big blooms are also very, very gorgeous. This print is also in the rainbow bundle. The guinea flower is a super bright one. It's very, very bold as we expect from Kaffe. Here's the one that looks like paint splotches again, but in a colorway we haven't seen before. I really like that purple background. It really is a really good combination. This is Becca. It has a lot of really big blooms, and we have not seen this one before. This one just has so many different flower blooms going on it. It's really gorgeous. And this is our last one for Vineyard. It's another one of those examples when you look at it as a whole, it looks like red, pink, a little bit of orange, but depending on how small you cut it, you might have it looking purple green. So it really just depends on how you use this, whether it's big or small, but you can always have a little bit of a surprise when you have Kaffe. All right, next we're going to move on to the Meadow fat quarter bundle. We're going to start with those lighter greens, but again, we have really large sections of purple. So depending on how you use this, it may look entirely different than a green of fabric. The paper fans is always a really fun design and a great one to use in any number of ways. We've done this for garments. Binding would look great with this one, as well as just big in your quilt. This one would read primarily as green, even if you cut it small, although we do have hints of purple and blue throughout this as well. These blooms are so huge. It's just such a large scale that we're working on. And again, depending on where you cut it, it might look a little purple. We've got our Kaffe spots again with green background and blue dots, and I am 100% positive that I've used this as a backing or background before because it works. If you're going to put it against something like, you know, your reds here or your blues, there is huge contrast and it looks great. This one is really gorgeous as well and will read as green no matter where you cut it. We got some more little dots here, looking great, looking very green. We saw this print earlier in this bundle, but it is a more brighter green versus this one, which is more of a medium green. Both of them look fantastic, but this one I think has more change in the amount of colors in those dots. This one is called Garlands. I have not seen this print before. It is definitely new to me. It looks really, really fun. This one is shirt stripes. I think it would actually make a very fun summery shirt. This one is button mosaic, and Kaffe actually does make buttons. If that's something anyone is interested in, comment below and we'll see about getting them because we do have an account with the supplier. But they're super fun, they're super cute, definitely reads as green. We've got some more mod plaid. This one is super fun. I love this colorway. We got some more spots, this time with a very sort of deep medium green and lilac spots. So I love the color combinations that they use. This print is also in the rainbow colorway. This is Cactus Flower. We've seen this print before, but not in this colorway, and I love the juxtaposition of the greens and teals with the orange. Makes it really pop, but again, depending on where you cut this, it's going to appear as very green or very orange and blue. So keep that in mind as you're working with this print. This is Reflections, and it also is in the Rainbow Fat Quarter Bundle. This print is also in the Rainbow Fat Quarter Bundle. We have yet another colorway of spots. I love the coloring in this one. That mixture of the green and the purple is just so stunning and beautiful. I love everything about it. But again, it's one where depending on where you cut it, it's going to read as blue, green, or purple. So keep that in mind as you're working with it. And this print is also in the Rainbow Bundle. All right, so that is everything from Meadow. A couple of repeats from the Rainbow, but a lot of ones that are only in this one. And the last new Fat Quarter Bundle we have from Kaffe is Lake. So these are obviously all of the blues, ranging from really light to really dark. So let's take a peek. So the rainbow is all of the really bold colors. So all of these light ones are not going to be repeats. They're going to just be standalones. This one is called Brassica. It is gorgeous. This has given me Frozen vibes with the color palette. Another colorway of spots. And we have our bigger dots again. This time we're just trending a little bit darker with each print. We've seen this guinea flower before, but again, this one is a totally new colorway, and I think it really makes all those little flowers pop. We've seen this Roman glass print several times before as well, but not in this colorway, so really pretty, and we're starting to get in those deeper blues. This print is just gorgeous. Those blooms are huge, they look fantastic, and this would be one that would be really fun to either fussy cut or use big. We've seen this print a bunch of times before too, but not in this colorway. We are solidly into our medium blues. This one does not have a repeat. This is maybe my new favorite Kaffe Collective print. This one's by Philip Jacobs, and oh, it's gorgeous. I think I love it more in like the purpley one, but this one is really gorgeous too. This print is also in the Rainbow Fat Quarter Bundle. This print is also in the Rainbow Fat Quarter Bundle. This one is really pretty. It reads blue, but again, if you cut it small, you might get hints of purple, teal, and of course blue and a little bit of pink. So keep that in mind as you're cutting this one up, but it would be really fun to use big or to fussy cut. This one is also really gorgeous. We've seen this print, but not in this colorway, and it's so fun. Again, one you really want to use big, or maybe consider fussy cutting, or just be aware that it's going to look different depending on where it is you end up cutting. We've seen this print before too, but not in this colorway. This one reads more as all one color. I think the last one we looked at, there was a very sharp contrast between the little seed heads here and the rest of the flower. But this one is going to very much read as one color no matter how small you cut it up. I really love this one too, but again, it's one of those that's going to read very different whether you're getting a piece of this flower versus a piece of this flower. So keep that in mind as you're working. This print is also in the Rainbow Fat Quarter Bundle. We have seen this shirt stripes in other colorways, but not yet in this one. I think this would make a really, really fun tunic or top that you could wear. This print has a whole lot going on in it. It is mostly going to read one color, except for the parts here where it actually is going to look more rust, depending on how small you cut your pieces. This is one of my favorite Kaffe prints of all time. This looks good whether you cut it up small or large, just because there's so much detail working through it. And we are going to end with our guinea flowers. This one has a black background with a lot of blue and pink in it. It would be really fun for fussy cutting, but also to be used on a large scale. Really, this is a super fun collection. There is some repeat between what you're going to see in the other 3 colorways and what's in the rainbow, but there are prints in the rainbow that are not in any of these, and there definitely are prints in the 3 different colors that are not in the rainbow. So you can really easily mix and match. The bundles, you could just get the rainbow in order to get all the colors, but know that you're going to be missing out on some prints. Again, we have rainbow, Vineyard, Meadow, and Lake. So that's all your options. If you like Kaffe and you just want to get your stash started, just get all of it and make it look gorgeous in your stash and storage. This is a good way to get you some Kaffe stash going. This would be absolutely gorgeous. And now for something completely different, we're going to look at Tim Holtz Eclectic Elements. Tim Holtz is also with Free Spirit. It is much more like, this is the guys collection. A lot of women really like it too, but if you are trying to make a man quilt, this is a fabric that you need. I feel like if you're someone who collects ribbon, by the way, this one has the Eclectic Elements on the ribbon, so that will be really fun for your collection. I always love the depth and layers that come with Tim Holtz, because we have this really pretty sketched out flower, but behind it there is this handwritten and very neat scrawl list of some sort, and you've got the line colors of the paper, and it really is a very fun one. And because of that brown greige-ness of it, it just really works well for the neutral palettes that are really popular right now, while still having a lot happening in it. This tiles one is also a favorite. It works really well on a small scale or large. In previous collections, there was a version of this print that was on a larger scale that showed, where things were going and subway times and things. And this one is fun. I think it works really well on a smaller scale, and I think it's going to work great for your quilt projects. Here is some worn crock. It's basically Tim's answer to basics, and it looks great in things like bags because it does a really good job of mimicking the look of that actual, crocodile leather, but obviously it's quilting cotton, so it's much more friendly to the world, and price-wise it looks great for that. This one is called Hocus Pocus. I know that he did a Halloween line not that long ago, so I think this is part of that, but it works really good as a basic as well. You wouldn't know that it's Halloween except for the name of the fabric. This is another example of the layering that I really appreciate from Tim Holtz's designs. On the surface, this looks like a crackle, and it looks really good and works really well as that. But layered beneath that is this really beautiful script as somebody writing in kind of an old-fashioned way. So it really is very fun, and it really bridges the gap between brown and gray very well. Like, I typically don't like browns. I prefer those cool grays, but this speaks to me and I really like it. These next two are more examples of that layered design. It looks like parchment that's gotten wet over time and kind of revealed what's underneath, because we have this really pretty filigree, but underneath it, where it's kind of like it hasn't gotten wet, but that's the look it gives off, is that something bled onto it. You're seeing South Branch National or Valley National Bank, and so it looks like this very old-timey, like they used like wallpaper the wall with some papers that they found, and then they went over it with an actual wallpaper, and then it just sort of faded away somehow, and it really is a cool trick. This one has that really same kind of treatment where it looks like there's a pattern like wallpaper on top, but beneath it, there's some sort of old-time print talking about Virgin Cuissard or, all the things, but it has this old-timey type to it, and it really looks cool when it's all layered together like that. Here's that crackle print again with the script underneath it. This one is called Foreboding, and it is a plaid. But keep in mind when you make this that this plaid has been printed on, it has not been woven together, so it may not be perfectly straight, and you may have to do some fussing to make it look like it is. It has a little note on it. The fabric is designed to have a distressed appearance with printed imperfections, so the distressed part of it is intentional. They must have had that question a couple of times. Here's that crackle with the script underneath it again. This one is called Regions Beyond. I believe it was left over from Tim Holtz' Halloween collection. This is kind of a collection of all his collections. So if you need like a Tim Holtz starter pack, this is a good way to get it. They all will work together because Tim Holtz is a great designer. Like Tula and like Kay for all Tim Holtz, it's going to work with all Tim Holtz. So this could be fun. Save it for a little Halloween project or just have snippets of it for the color in your projects. This to me looks like old-fashioned mosaic tile, but again, we have that distressed, intentionally distressed look to it so that you have a lot of different colors. I think you can see it really well in our overhead camera, how those values just change depending on where you're at in the fabric. At one point, we had an entire rainbow of this Eclectic Elements in it, and oh my gosh, did it go so fast. So it is perfect to include in this collection, and these color prints looks great. We've had this print before as well on yardage. It looks really good, especially in bag projects. Again, it's not necessarily printed straight with the lines, so keep that in mind as you're cutting. You may have to do a little fussing to make it look straight. Here's that worn crock again, this time in black. And we're going to wrap it up with a print that looks like it is a chalkboard from some sort of math or maybe engineering sciencey class, maybe physics. So this one is really fun. I like the way that it looks. I like that we're not just on a flat background, that there's texture to the black, that it's not solid. It really is a fun collection. All right, so that's Eclectic Elements from Tim Holtz. It's a little bit from a lot of his more recent collections, and it is coordinated together very well. What I really like about this is there's really only about 3 prints that read as light value, which means you can pick one, and there's a lot going on in each one of these. Like there's good amounts of dark in here. So you could pick like one tan for your background, and it would look great no matter what you put with it. Maybe like one of the light tans of the worn crock. That would be fabulous. So lots of really good options with this. If you have a man quilt that you need to make in your life, this would be a good option for it. Really easy to just leave out the skulls and do a quick little Halloween project with that, and you won't be losing anything. It'll still look great. So check that out over at shop.quiltaddictsanonymous.com. Thanks so much, and until next time, happy quilting.